So this video was in the making for almost a year now. I postponed it and yet again, not because I did not have the time to do well, among other things, but because the setup is constantly an evolving thing. There is no such thing as a final setup. This setup that you see now has already changed 5 or 6 times during a period of 1 year. So let me show you how I made it and why I made it the way I did, because I did not do this for show, but rather to gain more space and to make it easier for me to record videos that you watch, among other things. And I wanted to share this journey with you guys. Looking for affordable Windows or Office keys? Look no further, I got you covered. Head over to scdkey.com, pick your Windows edition, use my discount code LE25 to get a 25% on any Windows or Office products. Once you complete your order, after a few seconds you will receive your code. In Windows, go to Settings, there should be an Activate Windows prompt at the bottom. Click that, enter your code and wait for Windows to finish activation. To check the activation status, use the command prompt with the command slmgr.vbs/xpr and you should receive a notification that the machine is permanently activated. Once again, use code LE25 at scdkey.com. Let's start how this room was before and what I had in mind with it, and I am sorry in advance if I don't have it all on video, because at times there was so much dirt and dust in the air and actually no place to put the camera and the tripod on, so I only took pics as I went with the renovation. The goal of this whole setup slash mini studio was to streamline everything and make it easier to transition from an ordinary room to a studio in a least amount of time. And all that because before I had to make a new table here where I would assemble a PC and do the build time lapse, and also when reviewing some products I had to move everything away from my desk. Also, these lights take up a lot of space, so that needed to be moved each time something was recorded. I had to dismount everything and store it away, so I got sick and tired of doing that and I wanted a more permanent solution or something that would make it easier until I get a bigger space, because obviously it is needed, but I gotta work with what I have currently. This is, let's say, a spare room in my house, so we all use it as a lounge area, relaxing area, gaming place and so on. It used to be an old bedroom turned into a gaming room, but as I wanted to start a YouTube channel, it started serving as the studio area. So in the place where my desk is now, there used to be an old wardrobe, closet, how you wanna call it. It was an old thing which we used to store my kids' old toys and in general all the things we did not need. So we just changed the fronts to make it more, I don't know, prettier, modern, but it all needed to go away, so it's hammer time. But as this thing was so old and heavy, during the first reconstruction of this room we did not move it, so the laminate floor did not go under it, but right next to it. Luckily I had spare boards for it, and luckily I did not have to take the whole room apart to do it all over again. I managed to just continue it from here and make it all a whole thing. After destroying the closet, you can see that the wall behind it was with this old ugly color, and actually it was in a pretty bad shape, messy and cracks formed everywhere. So what I did at this point, since I had a clean slate, I tried to visualize with painter's tape where some of the shelves would go and took the time to drill holes. As this is a full concrete wall that we have in Europe, this was a perfect time to do this step and have it all fixed and patched up later on. So with the help of my youngling, I managed to do this with an ease. And I apologize to you in advance if you see me scratching my butt from time to time or doing some weird stuff. Yeah, we do it once we are building something, it's a man's thing I guess. And also if I looked dirty, I was doing something, painting, working, making stuff, so stop judging me. So, wall patching, drilling a bunch of holes for all sorts of shelves, and then it came down to sanding this wall here that I previously did. It might look cool, but I kinda didn't want it anymore as it created a much more distracting background in my videos. Originally this was supposed to be, I don't know, a more pastel color, but when the local paint shop mixed these colors for me, it turned out way more stronger than pastel did in the catalog. Anyhow, sanding time. This took me a whole day. I did it by hand. I know there are machines for this. I didn't have one, nor did I know someone who did, so it was time to eat some sanded wall. And oh boy, it was messy. So you understand now why I did not want to record it all. This would have ruined my camera totally. So on to the painting then. I want the room to be brighter now. It was originally in some beige color, which did produce a tint on my videos whenever I recorded something. So white would actually reflect more light around and make it overall brighter. Painting this geometrical shape wall took 6 hands, yep, 6 hands to cover it properly. Time to assemble everything now. Since everything was fresh and all holes pre-drilled, mounting all the shelves was an easy job. I got everything from IKEA and didn't want to bother making it custom, as it would again take me more time and actually cost the same. I did leave the TV cabinet, which I made years ago, so yeah, if it works, don't touch it. On the side wall I installed 4 shelves for little items, as this would make this wall somehow empty, and actually I'm glad that I did this. On the front wall where my setup is, I mounted 2 floating shelves. These are lag shelves from IKEA, about a meter long, and on the side I mounted the ever so popular Skadis pegboard, or the Skadis pegboard system, with a few accessories as well. At this point I also mounted my 5.1 speaker system as well. Rear speakers are wall mounted, and since I was mounting everything, it was perfect moment for this as well. By the way, just for reference, this was not done in a day. Time passed literally a week and a half since I started it all, and it was all during last February, winter time, rainy outside, and I needed a fast way to make it all dry fast. Once again, no camera in that humid conditions, but it was a new day ahead of me. Time to assemble the desk and actually the whole setup. So again, I went with the all-time popular IKEA Alex drawers as the base for my desk and the kitchen countertop called Salajan, something like that. This is the 186 cm long board and it's about 63 cm deep. But it is just enough, to be honest. Maybe 5 or 6 centimeters more would be a perfect desk depth. I decided to do an L-shaped desk so I can have my PC on one side, actually empty desk on the other side that I can use as a building station for PC assembly and B-roll recording of products and such. I already had the Alex cabinet assembled from my previous desk and one of the drawers, which I used on the right side. But I made this L-shaped board that acts as a support for the middle of the desk, but as well as a cable tray so I can hide my cables. And on it I have mounted a 7-port USB hub and also a charger at the same time. This is the TP-Link and actually serves as a hub to connect all the small things such as keyboard, mouse and such, so I don't have to run the cables all the way to the PC. I then fixed the top board with screws so it would stay secure. I know that this kind of desk is popular and you see it a lot of time in every setup almost. Well, it's for a reason. And I did not want to go with a sit-stand desk, those are wobbly, and in my eyes it's one great gimmick. Also, I did not go with raising the desk board with those legs you see people do. I did one mod though. Since I have uneven floors, I installed these squared adjustable legs under each Alex part of the desk. This allows me to adjust the desk to be leveled afterwards. For the other part of the desk I used Alex drawers on one side and 4 IKEA Olive adjustable legs on the other end where my PC is placed. 2 desktops are then connected with metal joints underneath. At this point it was time to spice things up with an LED strip. This is RGBIC 5-meter strip from the Govee and it actually fits the combined desk length perfectly. After mounting it, it was time to slowly get the setup up and running. So I proceeded with adding my voiceover microphone, the monitor on which I also added an LED strip for that backlight glow, speakers, audio interface, card readers and all the little goodies you see on my desk now. Alright, this was the worst and most boring part of the job, to hide all the cables under the desk. I did have a help with that L bracket that I made, but anyhow, I used these plastic clips through which you can pass like a bunch of cables. I screwed them even though they have this 3M tape. This fell after 1 week, so one screw through it and be done with all of them. I actually spent like 3 hours under the desk as I am crazy and I like things to be clean and organized even though they won't be visible at all. From this point on, several months passed. The ideas I had in mind with the whole setup did not go through at the time, as majority of the stuff supposed to be sponsored by various brands, which I am totally thankful for, by the way. So until everything arrived and all the collabs made possible, 6 to 7 months passed. So this is why we have some things added later, and this is that setup evolving thing I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So I added color light triangles at the side of the setup, somewhere in the summer I think. I also realized that the hole under the right desk is pointless, as I keep a bunch of boxes of products that are waiting to be reviewed and such, so I added doors here just to cover that hole and make this side of the setup more prettier when I record something or take photos, for example. And this is where my stupidity kicks in once again. You see, I have this urge to finish some things quickly, and that speed of things, I forgot to press record. I did set up the camera and everything, but never pressed that little red button, so there is no recording of me making these doors. These are custom made with push to open system, but also soft close too. I also added several shelves inside to keep this ugly printer out of the sight and actually organize everything under there. Somewhere in the middle of November I added Nanoleaf canvas to the wall where I record B-roll shots. This adds a little bit of backlight to the shot and actually it filled the white void on the wall as well. If I don't want to use them in my videos, I just turn them off. It's still white background then, so it's a win-win situation. On the setup wall side behind me I added Nanoleaf lines, and this is where I got in a little situation. The IKEA pegboard was in the way of my desired shape, so I removed it and added spacers so I can fit the lines there and the pegboard at the same time. It may not be an ideal solution, but it works and it doesn't bother me. This is where I have to finish this video, guys. I don't want to make it any longer than it needs to be, but I need to split this complete journey into 3 videos because there are many things that I want and need to show you, so it requires more time. So in part 2 you will see the in-depth setup area, you will see the TV and console area, and in part 3 you will see the behind the scenes, actually how I record videos and what is actually needed for that. I hope you enjoyed this part, give the video a thumbs up and I'll see you in 2 or 3 days again for the next part. See you until then.